in Everest, around Everest, from the highest point of Wales. Now, when you walk away from me, sir, the further you go, the smaller you look. Did you shrink, or is that perspective that pushes the lines, the train lines together? Everything gets squeezed into the distance. This is simply perspective in play. You should not be tricked by the eyes to believe that the ship is going over the horizon. Because if you're a science man, you will go measure. Because science requires observation, hypothesis, and then measurement. We must go out and measure if we are to be true. Test everything yourself. Do not let the scientists back in the government, NASA department, which is all government, tell you what to think. Tell you because they've given you drawings, that you must believe. Because it's cartoons. It's all cartoons. Everything that we're offered by NASA is cartoons. Satellites in space, they're cartoons as well. You Google satellites in space, you'll find out they're all cartoons. Google how much of the data traffic that you use on your phone is going through a satellite or going through undersea cable. You'll find that 99% of all data traffic is cable, not through satellites. And your telephone, your mobile phone, is not touching a satellite.
So what's more?
Well, it's not touching a satellite, it is touching the local ground tower. When you leave the city, when you go away from the smart highway, you'll find that there is no signal all of a sudden. Why? If there's a satellite over my head in England, it should give me coverage no matter where I go. If I go in a dip, I should still have a signal. Don't you know that? If you travel at all, you'll know that your phone doesn't work out of the city. But if it's on a satellite, that's not working, right? So clearly, Earth is not rotating. Earth is not spinning. Can anybody here point to me the direction we're spinning right now? Point to me the direction we are spinning right now. And can you tell me the speed that we are traveling right now? What speed are we traveling? What speed are we traveling, sir? If you know your belief, you should be able to tell me that it's 1,000 miles. It's 1,000 miles per hour. It's this belief that you could travel at 1,000 miles per hour outside of the aeroplane, standing on the wing of the aeroplane, and you believe that we are not being blown off that aeroplane, then you are still carrying the indoctrination of your childhood, which is that you are too small to feel that the earth is spinning. But you weren't taught then that there is still no experiment that proves that the earth is spinning. I'll repeat that. There is still no experiment that proves that
So do you
the earth
believe
is
in a
spinning.
geocentric model?
Heliocentric model is a lie.
Geocentric.
Geocentric, yes.
So heaven is above.
Heaven is above, earth is in the
So
center.
is it biblical, the flat earth?
Well, it's in the Bible. It's Old Testament, right? You know that Genesis. Anyone who reads the Bible and can't read that it was a flat earth in Genesis, it doesn't have a very sharp mind, because when I was a teenager, I was already picking that out of the Bible. It's all about a non-moving earth with a roof over the top and a waters from water separation. So there's absolutely biblical.
Is it in Job 38?
Job 38 says the stamp. Yet he pushes out like a stamp. Well, a stamp on an envelope is flat. It's not a ball. Yeah, pizza is flat. It's not a ball. And just because you play football with a ball doesn't mean that the pitch needs to be a ball. So the sun and the moon in the Bible are lights, two independent lights, one for the day and one for the night. That's what you're given. You are given a light for the day and a light for the night. We call them the
So
sun
are
and the
they
moon.
trying to hide God, these
Yes,
scientists, because they worship
absolutely.
Satan?
Heliocentrism is a form of sun worship.
Yeah.
Heliocentrism is to give worship to the sun, because without the sun in heliocentrism, there's nothing. Whereas the sun is just a small element of God's creation in this world. But heliocentrism is a continuation of sun worship. And that's what these people believe in, even though these people do not know. They do not know. So, for me, this was created to deceive us, The place of the sun, we all carry our own sun, we all carry our own moon. We encode it. Let me offer you this. Think about this. Put it in your mind's eye. It's a full moon night. There's some cloud in the sky. Now you're standing outside and you look up at the moon, and what do you see? You see a halo above your head. Maybe a little bit for a mile, the cloud is lit up around you. Yeah? That's what you see. Now when you look 10 miles away, you see that it's dark. But if you phone your friend up where it's dark down there and say, well, what do you see? They will say to you, well, gosh, I've just got a halo above my head, and it's only lighting up by me, but it's dark by you. Now, how is that possible on the model you believe, which is that there is a reflector that is so bright that should be insanely hot for the people that landed on it? How do you believe that it's lighting up the blanket of cloud? It's lighting the blanket of cloud, but only giving a specular light here and a specular light here. A specular light, you can't answer my question. You know why? Because it kills the idea that this light from 250 million miles away is reflecting back over the entirety of the dark earth.
To hide God,
Why would
right?
the religions make it up, bro? You don't believe all the religions, do you?
No, I only believe
So,
in one. There's only one.
NASA in Hebrew stands for to deceive. NASA and Nazis are very closely aligned. You should look into the history of Wernher von Braun, the man who took us to the moon. Wernher von Braun put a Psalms 19:1 on his tombstone. That's all he put. What is Psalms 19:1?
That the earth, that the
That
heavens should
God
show the
created a
glory.
roof and the heavens showeth God's firm handiwork. That the man who was a Nazi scientist brought under paperclip to America, who couldn't put a rocket into space in Germany, but he did this story and created, by the way, with filmmakers. They were working with filmmakers.
What's the point of making atmospheric up? What's the whole agenda? What does NASA gain out of
Well,
making
there's a couple of
atmospheric
things that they gain. Aside from control, you can hide more Earth. There's possibly more continents. On a flat Earth, there could be more land. But they put us in a ball that we can never leave, and they signed the Antarctic Treaty in the early 1960s, late 1950s, that forbids me and you from traveling beyond the 60th South Parallel. Now, why should we be stopped from going beyond the 60th South Parallel? Good men have gotten in their boats from Australia and traveled south and been turned away by military, just fishing. No. Beyond 60th parallel, only by permission. And that treaty has not been broken by Russia and America and BP and Shell and all of these countries. And yet, the most celebrated American admiral, Admiral Byrd, comes back from 15 years of exploration and says, I found resources that would last mankind for eons. I found land bigger than America and I haven't explored it all. Now, why is this not part of your education? Why are we not told this sort of stuff? Let me tell you, there are so many secret operations that NASA is simply an expression of the dark state that is trying to control mankind. Now, I hope you guys didn't buy the bullshit of the last 3 years, but let me tell you that there is no government. Once you know this, there's no government. There is no government that you need to hold to but your own. You should be your own government. You should be your own master.
How do all the nations will be able to see Jesus coming back on a spherical model?
Impossible on a spherical model, but on a flat earth, of course.
How did Jesus see all the kingdoms?
Impossible, like grasshoppers, looking down like grasshoppers, thrown above. That all fits with the Hebrew cosmology, and the Hebrew cosmology is an enclosed earth with waters around us and the continents. But there are possibly more lands, and I think that they are trying to steal our God-given divinity by this trick. And I was an atheist. I was a believer in the evolution lie. I was a believer that we came from Big Bang.